Tell me if this sounds familiar. You get your first gimbal and it's amazing, right? You finally get to shoot that silky, smooth footage you always wanted. But focusing is a nightmare. You always have to pre-focus your shot and it's uncomfortable slow and just straight up limits your creativity. So you try a lens with autofocus, but even the best cameras can miss the mark and none of them can read your mind. So you end up always having to adjust your focus point or shoot everything center framed. And if you can relate to any of that, then you need a follow focus, and this is DJI's solution for the Ronin SC. If you bought the basic SC package and you want to add the follow focus, you're going to need to buy the focus wheel and the motor. The focus wheel for the Ronin SC is the exact same one as for the Ronin S. But DJI made a smaller motor for the SC, so just make sure you get this one. The finish and materials here are the same as the Ronin, so it's all high quality stuff. The focus wheel is super smooth with a really nice amount of friction, so it's easy to adjust, but it won't accidentally move around on its own. And this is a nice touch. The screws here are threaded through, which means that they won't fall out, so you won't be losing them anytime soon. When you buy the motor, it comes with everything you need to mount it to the gimbal. So this little rod assembly and a splitter cable so you can power the motor and attach a camera control cable. You also get this little focus wheel, but just don't use this. There are so many better options out there. I'll link my favorites in the description down below, so just check those out instead. There's really not much more to talk about here, so let me show you how to get this thing set up. The motor is super easy. It just screws down to the side of the gimbal with these two screws. The rod mount is a little bit more tricky, and if you follow DJI's instructions, you actually won't have access to your battery, which is just so dumb. So do it like this instead. This isn't a how-to video, so I'm not going to go through all that here, but hit the like button if you want to see a full video of how to assemble and set this whole thing up. Once it's all on there, you end up with this little spaghetti monster of cables. And because of the way I mounted the little rod plate, sometimes those cables can struggle to reach and you end up with these tight bends, or the cable actually gets in the way of the gimbal. So I got these little 90-degree USB-C adapters, and those seem to solve the problem. I'll leave affiliate links to everything in the description down below so you don't have to look for it all. If you use those links, I get a little bit of a cut at no expense to you, which obviously helps me out a little bit, so thanks. Right, so this is all set up. It's really light, compact, and everything apart from the camera runs off a single battery. So the convenience factor here is high. As you'd expect from looking at it, the functionality here is pretty stripped down, though you can do the most basic things. Press the button once, move it a little bit, and press it again to set AMB points. And now it won't go past that, and press it again to reset back to the full range. You can press and hold to reverse the wheel direction, and then double tap to calibrate. Anytime now, there you go. Unfortunately, if you have a lens without hard stops, there's no good way to calibrate. You're just gonna have to hit calibrate and then stop the lens manually at either end. And that's fine, but it's just not very precise. Because everything here is made by DJI, you do get some app control, but unfortunately this little focus wheel is all you get. There's no way to control your focus in the track or time-lapse modes, which is ridiculous because everything's there in the app. DJI just doesn't let you do it. It would honestly be so sick if you could program a focus pull in a time-lapse. I really hope this is something that we'll get in a future update, but I really think it's something that should have been there from the start. Right, so what is it actually like to use? Well, what you gain in ease of use, you lose in flexibility. You have two mounting options for the focus wheel, left or right. You hold it with one hand and you pull focus with the other. And I have a couple problems with this. Firstly, this is meant to be used like a hand wheel, but it's more the size of a thumb wheel. So holding it just kind of feels like holding one of these tiny little teacups. And if I move it to the other side, I can just about reach it with my thumb, but it's really uncomfortable and definitely not made with this type of use in mind. I know the Ronin SC is a one-handed gimbal, but holding it with both hands will always give you more stability and control. So I just really wish that DJI gave you an option to use this thing like the thumb wheel that it is. This lack of flexibility Also means that it's a bit hard to pull focus when you're holding the gimbal high up, or if you put it on a monopod to get those super high angles. And yeah, it's easier than not having anything at all, but it's definitely not perfect. Here's an idea. Make a little module with a battery and a wireless connection that clips between the focus wheel and the gimbal. It can charge when it's connected to the gimbal and work basically exactly the same way this does, but it would give you the option to clip it off and mount it somewhere more convenient. A bit like this thing, only more integrated. If you're interested in the Nucleus Nano, I did a full review of it a couple of weeks back, so I'll leave a link somewhere so you can check it out later. What do you guys think? Like, would you actually use that, or do you think it's a really niche thing that's not worth the hassle? Let me know in the comments down below. Right, say you bite the bullet and despite all its faults, you go ahead and buy it. You get it all set up, play around with it for a couple hours, you're happy with the way it works, so you go to pack it up, ready for your next shoot. Everything fits snug in the little compartments until you get to the little spaghetti monster. No matter what you try, it doesn't fit. Apparently DJI expects you to take this whole thing apart every time you want to pack down. And that's just not going to happen because I want to be ready as quickly as possible and pack down as quickly as I can. And this would be the opposite. So you end up throwing this thing into your camera bag with all the other random bits and hoping that you don't forget it when you pack your gimbal for your next shoot. I have the same problem with the Nucleus Nano. I just really don't understand why no one thinks about this. So should you buy it? Well, if portability and ease of use are important to you, then the DJI Follow Focus is a great option, and it's definitely a huge step up from not having anything at all. Personally, the lack of flexibility is a real deal breaker for me, and if you feel like it might also be a big problem for you, then I might have a solution. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my next video where I show you how to make the Ronin SC work with the Nucleus Nano. Thanks so much for watching. Give this video a like if you found it helpful, and if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. I'm super serious about this channel, so subscribe to make sure that you're one of the first 100 subscribers. I'll also leave a link to my Instagram down in the description, so follow me there if you want to see what else I'm up to. But that's it for this one, so I'll see you in the next video.